Wednesday because we ain't recording it. We ain't live streaming it. He's not going to do it the following Saturday. It's like one time, here it is, boom. And he's going to do it a week from Wednesday, and he's the best in the company 2 years running. So I just wanted, I asked him if he would just give me just sort of a little bit of a, what do you call this, a trailer to the movie. If he could just give us a little 1 minute segue, just a little nugget to chew on between now and Wednesday. Hey, would you please help me give it a raucous welcome? Chino, welcome to the great
I'm so humbled to be here standing next to one of my great mentors, Mr. Christopher Schloeman. Get up and help. Prospecting. That's the key to our business, right?
Yeah. Right.
Wrong. Belief is the key to your business. When you prospect, then look for someone below you. Look for someone who can make your business better.
You can prospect till the cows come home. Dairy reference. You can prospect till the cows come home, but if you don't believe that you're gonna help people, if you're not expecting to get a result, it doesn't matter. You can literally say the right words. In the absence of belief, you're not gonna get it done. That's prospecting, that's making phone calls, that's presentations, and so what Ed is saying is key. Here's the fact of the matter. This is what I came up in this dude's base shop by the name of Ed Milet. Here's what he taught us. Your direct recruiting numbers are a direct reflection of how much you believe in the business. Your direct recruiting numbers are a direct reflection of how much you believe in the business. If you really believe in the business, it shows in the number of people you're sharing the opportunity with. And you're like, yeah, I sort of believe in it. It makes sense up here. That's reflected in your direct recruiting numbers, right? By the way, why do you think many great religions or churches do all this missionary work? Some of them sort of quasi-require a couple of years of missionary work as they're entering into adulthood. I would suggest it's two reasons. One is to share their message that they believe strongly in of the church. I believe the other reason is to increase the beliefs of these young people transitioning into adulthood. Because you get out there and knock doors for 2 years and talk about what you believe in, you're going to solidify those beliefs, right? You're not going to keep doing it if you don't really believe in what you're saying. Nobody's just going to go through the motions for 2 years, right? So, I personally, I love it. He brings great energy, super professional, checks all those boxes. But when he and I were talking, and I told Dennis, I go, I know he's looking for some sort of leadership and mentorship from me, and I'm down with it. I said, but I'm looking for what I'm going to get from him. And I'm not looking for an override. I'm not overriding Ed by 1%. I want him in here because I know he's going to change. He's going to increase, cause me to level up my beliefs in this area of the business. And he's going to put pressure on me and challenge me to be better at that area of the business. So just him being around, I've got direct recruits 3 months in a row. And I'm just I got a stable pipeline now. It's about to get crazy. And I know that's a direct reflection because I'm around him. I can't have him around me and just not feel that pressure that I got to get this done. So appreciate him being here. I'm really looking forward to his message. We got a bunch to go through this morning. I'm excited to share a bunch of this with you guys this morning. Is that looking all crazy? So it doesn't look right about that. All right. Yes. Yeah, not sure why, but we're going to work through it anyway. So I have a screen mirror. I work off the pad this morning. See if we can pull this off. So, like Dean said earlier, right? Money's not everything. There's a mission to the company, but I like to constantly remind you guys, we get paid. Right? It's okay. When you came through that door and you said that BBM, you didn't go, man, I like the idea of having all these people as my friends, and golly, I've been looking for something to fill the void of all this extra time I have on Wednesday nights and Saturday mornings, and I just don't know what to do with myself, so this looks like that could fill the void. And I just don't find myself sitting down and taking notes enough and listening to other people scream and yell and pontificate at me. So maybe this could be a good venue for that. And it feels good because they constantly have it at 120 degrees in here. So it's sort of like hot yoga without all the stretching. So this is sort of my deal, right? So we make money. This was yesterday's check. And then if you look here, that was yesterday's check. That was Tuesday's. So just in case we didn't spend all that $5 grand from Tuesday, we got 9 more on Friday. And then this was the Friday before that, which was another 5,600. So that's like 19 or 20 grand over Friday, Tuesday, Friday, 7 days. I don't know how you live on that. I got 3 kids I'm trying to put through school, right? I got a wife that obviously didn't marry me for my looks. So like, it's just fun to be making money, right? This is, I just want to give you guys a quick snapshot. So this little company that I built that I'm teaching you to build paid out $3.2 million in commissions over the past 12 months. That's not a bad little company. 3.2 million, not in revenues, in payroll. Payroll. To a bunch of you people, right? That's sort of exciting, right? Now, thankfully that 3.2 didn't come out of my pocket. I'm not writing all those checks, right? But that's the payroll of the company that I've developed and built, right? We look over here, just so you know I'm not the only one getting paid. My girl Nikki, 14 grand. That was yesterday's paycheck. Not her paycheck for the month. Remember, we get 9 paychecks in October, so that's 1 and 9, 14. Give it up for Nikki. Spent all this time running Elite Circle for all these different people, and you would think, well, she's taking time away from her own business, and then she pops off like that. There's Onstott, Griselda, Jorge Cardenas, Rachel, Steve, Evan, like all kinds of people getting paid. So I just want to share that with you guys to remind you, like, yes, we got to focus on the mission before the commission, but you should not be running a nonprofit business once you get licensed. Once you get licensed, I want you to hear me on this. Some of you might need to write this in your notes, boldly and double underscore it. You are supposed to be making money every single month with your license. Like my baby girl just got her driver's license like a week and a half ago. How often do you think she's driving? Every day. But she didn't get that license like every once in a while drive. It's like every day, right? You got a license, like how often are you supposed to be using it?
Every day.
So why don't we use it every day? Why aren't we getting paid every month? You should be getting paid every cycle, but as a minimum every month. So why aren't we? Can I give you the answer to why we're not getting paid every month?
Yes.
3 people. 4.
Yes.
A bunch of you really want to know the answer. I see your paychecks. But frankly, my payroll should be about 10 times that if we could start getting a couple of y'all paid, right? It's exactly what Ed Burns said. You don't actually believe that you're ready to start making money here every month, and you're not expecting to make money every month. You're hoping, but there's a difference between hoping and expecting. You're hoping to make money, you're hoping this will pay off, but you're not really expecting to. And because you're hoping, you're acting as if you're hoping. You're not acting as if you're expecting to. You follow me?
Yes.
Right. Like Dean, we go up and visit last night in his office. He's acting as if on a daily basis he's expecting to make money. Right? Like my boy Warner, he's acting as if he's expecting to make money. Right? But some of us are hoping and not acting. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about that today and some of the shifts that we can make and how this actually works. Ooh. Ooh. Well, that's about 21, 22 months of pay. That's not bad. Let's get on it. Mark, so just so you know, I'm not the only one getting paid. Mark Onstott. Sebastian, he was like you. He was a mechanic for 13 years. Mechanic for 13 years. Over the past 21, 22 months, he's made $607,000. He wasn't making 3 large plus a year as a mechanic with a wrench in his hand. No college degree, average high school student, no sales skills, no sales background, no marketing background. And if you've ever been around Mark and see him speak, he's got a little bit of like a nervous tick, sort of like that, especially when he's nervous. And you can imagine as you're first learning a business like this, and you're an introverted mechanic guy, there's a little bit of nervousness, right? That he had to work his way through with repetition. Now he's dropping those kind of numbers down. Nikki's at about $500,000 over the past 2 years, so's Melinda Blue. Rachel all kind of, you know what's funny here? She'd be pissed as hell if she knew I was showing you this right now, because she's like, we're having a down year. She worked at her and her husband both worked at a grocery store. The two of them combined in a grocery store making like $40,000 a year, and they had been there for years. They weren't like entry level. They were high school educated. Well, I'm not even sure Rachel finished high school. She had a pretty traumatic upbringing. When Mark and Rachel's parents split up, Mark went to live with his dad in Torrance. Rachel lived with her mother in Colorado because she felt someone needed to take care of their mom. Because her mom's bipolar, was an addict, and like she, as a little girl, felt like she had to take care of her mother, or like she would walk, like she would walk on a daily basis to the food bank to make sure that she got to eat, because her mom was so caught up in her own mental illness and addiction that her mom wouldn't think to have enough food in the house. But as a young teenager, Rachel ruled the roost. I mean, she did what she wanted to do, what she wanted to do. She stayed out all night. Like, she didn't have any real positive influences in her life at all. She was raising herself and her mom, right? So today, and her husband, over the past 21, 22 months, make about $350,000. And that's a down year for them. She'd be so pissed at me right now. Like, so pissed at me, because they've done better than that, and she's got bigger expectations than that. But you talk about rags to riches, right? And what you can do, but you know what she took advantage of? She took advantage of an environment with leadership and mentorship. She learned, she took notes, she took action on the notes she was taking. Like, she was not a passive listener in these meetings, she was an active listener. Taking notes, reviewing her notes, studying her notes, learning from her notes, then working outside of the meetings with leaders to get better, to create field activity, to learn in the field. And that's why she's such a beast, right? So, I want to go through the exchange principles this morning with you guys. Okay, can I go through them? Yes?
Yes.
Because I think they go hand in glove with what we've been talking about recently. So, the exchange principles. So, what are the exchange principles? If you look, Vivian's teaching a class today. Yeah. So, Vivian comes from the industry. Vivian was in the industry before she started here. John Storm, one of my top agents in my day shop, came from the industry, like 10 years at Mass Mutual, is here with us today. In the industry, the 5 things that I'm about to go through here, they don't do in the industry. We say this time and time again. We'll be saying it right now this morning in the BPM room. We're in the financial services industry, but we're not of the industry. We're in the industry, but we're not of the industry. We take a non-traditional approach to the industry. In other words, the traditional approach doesn't go through any of these 5 lessons I'm about to teach you. The traditional way is a scarcity mentality. It's all for one. It's all about me. I got to get what I can. I got to compete with other people. Yeah. The traditional industry, a guy like Ed Burns in the office, he ain't telling you boo. No, he ain't telling you boo. Like, he may share with you a couple of crumbs and pretend like he's giving you the nuggets. He ain't giving you the nuggets. That's the way it works in the traditional industry, because you're a threat to him. You're a threat to his livelihood here. You're a threat to his possibility of getting promoted here. You're a threat to his client base. There's no collaboration. It's a competitive, confrontational environment. And so you got to protect what's yours, which includes your intellectual capital, as well as your resources. It's only been here a couple weeks. He's already gone out with a bunch of guys in the field on his own dime, teaching them what he knows. And he ain't overriding them, and nobody's paying him to do it. Out of the goodness of his heart, but it starts with these exchange principles. We believe things different. Here's what we believe. I want you to put this in your notes. You got to give before you receive. You got to give before you receive. You got to give before you receive. We also believe this. There's more than enough for everyone. How much is there? More than enough for everyone. Right? The rest of the industry don't believe it. So we start off with these exchange principles. The first exchange principle is this. It's your personal exchange. What is it says, one of our greatest uniquenesses is the personal sale exchange. Most companies in this industry allow their agents to sell products to themselves. So I get a license like Eduardo on Monday, and the first thing I want to do is sell myself a product so I can make a commission on myself. That's what the whole industry does. This is a very limited one-time benefit. How many times can Eduardo sell himself a product?
One.
Theoretically once. Now you can sell himself more products, but at a certain point, like he's got a limited amount of income, right? He can only buy and sell himself so many times, right?
Right.
With World Financial Group, an associate exchanges the right to make his or her own personal sale for the opportunity to make suitable personal sales to those he or she personally recruits. So, I think one of the greatest challenges in our culture today, not the greatest, but one of the greater challenges today is our society is becoming increasingly entitled. We're in an entitlement society where I'm entitled to this, I'm entitled to that, and we're losing the sense of earning it, of being self-responsible, right? It's not my fault, it's someone else's fault, and I'm entitled to somebody else fixing this for me, right? What we say is, you can take your own personal sale, but the seeds that you plant in this business are going to be the seeds that you bear fruit on. I want you to think about this and how much more powerful our concept is. Eduardo says, no, this dude Warner's been busting his up since the day I started. He's given of his time generously and freely. He's invested so much in me and helped me so much. I'm going to, even though I'm licensed, I'm going to let Warner advise me, and I'm going to become Warner's client. Okay? A couple of powerful things. Number one is, what if he never got licensed and was waiting until the day that he got licensed, and then winds up quitting the business? He never gets the help that he needs long term, because we all need the help, right? Number two, he's emotionally attached to his own money. He's not going to be completely objective when he's advising himself. He's a 100% subjective. Number three, he's brand new licensed. That's like my daughter who just got her license 2 weeks ago, teaching my youngest son how to drive. She's barely learned herself. She ain't ready to teach nobody, right? I'm teaching him because I got like 35 years of driving a car, or 40 or 50, right? So for all those reasons, it doesn't make sense for you to sell yourself one. But let me speak to you purely as a greed-driven capitalist that you are. From a purely economic business sense. If he sells himself, he can do that once. But he goes and he meets this hot-looking chick named Adela, and he recruits her. And she gets started with us, and he makes her his client using the personal exchange program. He gave up his personal sale with the very first direct recruit he gets after he's licensed. He gets a sale in return. He's now even. He's even. But it doesn't stop there. Then he recruits Samuel. Samuel now becomes a client of Eduardo's, following in, right, the seeds that Eduardo planted are now harvested. Monkey see, monkey do. Follow the leader. Copy the cat. Copy the right cat, right? When Samuel becomes a client of Eduardo's, Eduardo now has a 200% rate of return on his initial investment of this sale to Warner. Is a 200% rate of return good in business?
Yes.
Where the hell do you get a 200% rate of return in business? Like those are companies you read about, right? He now recruits Kim. He just has a knack for recruiting beautiful women, right? He recruits Kim. Kim becomes a client. Now he's got a 300% rate of return. He's still new in the business, and he's got a 300% rate of return on that initial investment. Why? Because there's not a scarcity. There's an abundance. And when you start your business the right way, you set the right example for other people to do it the right way as well. Now, the greatest conflict that you can have as a parent, because I always think parenting is the best metaphor for leadership, or as a leader is, I'm just going to keep mine, and then expect you and you and you to do it the way I tell you to do it. Those guys just never make it. They just never make it. They don't understand the higher law that's behind all this. the bigger principle that's behind all this. Can I tell you to this day, Lori Fenelon, this just happened within the past year or 15 months. Lori Fenelon, who's been in business with me, if not 20 years, close to 20 years, she just bought a new financial product like about 12, 15 months ago. She filled out all the paperwork herself, because she's been doing this a while, she can advise herself. She's not brand new anymore, right? She can advise herself. Knew what she needed, filled out all the paperwork. Guess whose agent coach she put on? Mine. I had nothing to do with it. She's like, hey, just want to let you know I just submitted an app on me for you. And all you guys like, man, wouldn't it be neat to be Lori? She's got a 6-figure passive income, month after month after month. She's making 10 grand a month. She's, right? She understands the business from the top to the bottom, and she's always understood it and ran it the right way. You don't hear those stories of people that don't understand and run the system the right way, right? So your personal exchange, right? What's the second exchange? It's the market exchange. What do we mean by the market exchange? Eduardo and Adela are working with Warner as their primary field trainer, right? Rather than him getting licensed, we've been on this theme for a couple weeks. I've taken it a slightly different shade, a slightly different, right, direction today, but it's totally congruent with what we've been talking about. Rather than Eduardo getting licensed, go, finally, I don't need any more field training from Warner. Now I can go sell all the people I know. The people that Eduardo knows love him. They're loyal to him. They'll do anything they can to support him and Adela. But they don't want him practicing with their money. They know Eduardo as an arborist, or whatever you call him, right? Is that right? Tree service guy, okay? Arborist sounds a little bit more pro, but yeah. He's a humble and hungry dude, I respect that, right? They will let him and Adela, because they're such good character, high character, trustworthy people, they'll let these two watch their children. But watching their money is a whole different deal. You can watch my kids, but my money, whole different deal. Some of you have been with us for a while. Some of you have tremendous integrity and credibility with the people that you know. Some of the people that you know that you've been licensed and doing this full time as a career for years, in some cases even a decade. I've been doing this for 2 decades. I've got, believe it or not, you'll find this shocking, I still have some credibility with the people that know me outside of these 4 walls. Some people outside here know I've been doing this for 2+ decades, know I make a decent amount of money, know that I'm sort of an expert in this. They still have reservations about me working with them about their money. My proximity is too close. I was sharing with Dean last night, I said, you know what, Vivian came to us from the industry, and then she's been here. She's got this unbelievable husband named Rufy who did a lot of help with the cookout on the steak and weenie deal, right? I go, I bet how long has Vivian been in the industry? 30 years. How long have they been married? 40 years. I bet in the 30 years that Vivian's been in the industry, and this is no disrespect to Vivian, I bet she hasn't made 10 sales at Rufy's market. Not 10. Not because she doesn't have the expertise. She's too close. Too close to Rufy. Too close to that market. There's literally tens of thousands of, I guarantee you, just getting a chance to get to know Rufy, that dude, his credibility, tens upon tens of thousands of dollars in commissions. That's the greedy capitalist pig in me, right? Sitting in that market. Now the angelic Mother Teresa, Bernie Sanders, I want to help everybody. Part of me is like, there's so many people in that market that need our help and aren't ever going to get it, because the closest shot they got to getting help is this person named Rufy's wife, and she's never had adequate access to that market. And it's unlikely that Merrill Lynch, Dean Witter, or Smith Barney's going to call them up, because they're just not that papered up. Really good people making good money, need our help badly, and they're all jamming it in a 401k trying to figure it out on their own. But if Dean was calling into that market, or if Tim was calling into that market, or if Tom was calling into that market, you could cancel Christmas. Right? I mean, it'd be like Christmas every day. Because there'd be so many people to help, and then there's the referrals, and then a bunch of them would be recruited. And That's not just Ruby's market. Inside of Vivian's market, because Vivian came through the traditional industry, there's a whole bunch of people in her market that know what she does, have known it for years, that I guarantee we haven't touched. And so if that's true of Vivian with 30 years of experience, it might be true of you after 3 months, or 6 months, or 3 years, or 5 years, or 10 years, right? It's not an ego thing, it's a desire to serve, a desire to help, and a desire to max out your business. Like if I'm opening a restaurant, I want all my people there, and I want all my wife's people there, and then I want all the people that they know there, and then I want all the people that they know. Like I want to make a favorable impression, reach out to all them people, not just some of them. And in our business, you need somebody else redirecting it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, let me get back to the capitalist greedy pig side of me, right? Sort of like an angel and the devil, right? Eduardo gives up thousands and thousands of dollars being field trained in his market before he gets licensed, and he gives up thousands and thousands of dollars in his market after he gets licensed as he's continued to be trained. Because just because my daughter got a license and she wants to drive every day doesn't mean she's allowed to drive every day anywhere she wants to, right? We had a big birthday dinner for her last night at Wood Ranch, and one of her friends was sitting right next to me. And her parents bought her like this really cool car for her birthday. She turned 16, and she texted her mom. It was after school. She said, "Hey, some of my friends want to go get boba. Can I go get boba?" And her mom's like, "Yes." And then 10 minutes later, she texted back. She said, "No, you can only use the car to go to school and come home from school." She said, "Look, I literally had to get a ride with my friend to get boba. Then they had to drop me back off to school so I could drive." She goes, "How dumb is that?" That's pretty dumb, right? Like you want to sort of give them more and more and more ground as they become more mature and more experienced. And that's exactly what will happen with Eduardo and Adela. But in the beginning, what's more valuable than the money he's missing out on is what he's learning. Because what he's learning is going to make him millions. I believe he'll make millions here, he and Adela. I don't think that's an overstatement. But getting back to the capitalist side, he recruits Samuel, and now because of the training that he's gotten in his war market with Warner, which by the way, most of those people weren't going to sit down with him, most of those people were going to buy from him anyway, because he's the tree guy, right? And they see him that way. That's why they've known him his whole life. They don't see him as an expert, but together, when he sits down, he's got all the credibility in the world with his people. Warner has all the expertise. Without Eduardo, Warner is a stranger with lots of expertise. Without Warner, Eduardo is a friend with no expertise. They both need each other. And on their own, neither one of them are very good at all, but together they're super powerful. So he gets the training. He's going to make some money now because he's licensed. He's going to get some split sales. But he's exchanging this so that he gets trained well enough, maybe not by the time he recruits Adela, maybe not by the time he recruits Samuel, but by the time he gets to Kim, I bet he's had enough field training appointments where he's now validated, and now he's field training Kim. And in field training Kim in her war market, he gave up one war market, he received one war market. He just broke even. Then he recruits David. He's now got a 200% rate of return on his, right? Now he recruits Tom. Tom's got a crazy good market. It's worth about 2 markets. Now he got a 400% rate of return. But if he doesn't exchange his market, it never works. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
How many of you see how powerful that principle is?
Yeah.
Yes? The rest of the industry, everybody tries to sell in their own market, and they struggle like crazy. Struggle like crazy because of that, right? I want you to listen to me on this. We've been talking a lot about getting fast started and working with somebody else to create leverage in your personal war market, even if, David, you just said that with Jim Maloney, right? How long ago did you get started with us?
8 years.
8 years. You got a Life, a Series 63, a Series 6, and a Series 65, is that correct? So he's got all the licenses that you could possibly get with us, which gives him credibility and the expertise that he's looking for. Jim sat down and made some calls with the other day. How many people did he get a hold of?
Probably 10, 15.
And were there any results from any of those?
We have one coming today. We had one that we're going to meet up with. We've got another one that came Thursday. and several more that are gonna be here.
Yeah, from what he told me, he said he left a message, but it sounded like he was almost 100% in the people that he had talked to. Had you ever talked to any of those people before about financial services?
Nope.
You hadn't?
Nope.
So you let go of sort of your chicken list. That's up. That's up. And here, somebody else just did this recently. Here's what happens. Those people that are on your chicken list are usually the most supportive and the easiest. They really are. You're scared to death. They're usually the easiest. That's how you get to be on someone's chicken list. Is because you understand things, you're not skeptical, like you're more open-minded, you're more flexible, you're more supportive. And so you're much easier to meet with typically, and you typically get much better results out of that. So, the market exchange. The guideline qualifications exchange, this is one. Does anybody really know what this means? Because most people get this wrong. Anybody know what this is?
Can't read it.
Can't read it, I know. I want to know if anyone knows it without reading it.
Is
It's in the
that when someone
VFS.
is up to a promotion that people are gonna kinda help direct, help them fix that promotion?
Good guess. Anybody else? Good guess. Anybody else? Guideline exchange. Here's what it says. Samuel's new in the business. Guess what title and contract he's starting out at? That sucks. I could go to XYZ company, instead of being on a 25% contract, they'd start me at a 40% contract. See ya. See ya. Why is he on the 25% contract? Let me show this to you. Let me break it down. He starts on a 25, I'm on a 65. Right? That's a 40% override. Say override.
Override.
Say it like it's sexy, like you like them, not like you're mad about it. Override. Oh, there's music to my ears. Yeah. I'm being incented to spend time with him. The rest of the industry, traditionally, there's about a 10 to 15% spread that the experienced guy has with the new guy, and it's figured out. Here's what you're supposed to do. Go get referrals. Go prospect. Call everybody on your chicken list and go make some sales. Here's what you should sell them. Because in the traditional industry, when I'm on a bigger contract, guess where I should spend my time? Getting personal clients. Because it doesn't make sense for me to help you get clients because my return on my investment's horrible when I'm spending time helping you get clients. My return on, by the way, how do I get to be successful in the traditional industry? By getting good personal clients and lots of them. So the more of them I get, the more I'm making. I'm not making enough by helping you. Most of you don't know this, I did an internship with Northwestern Mutual Life, one of the big prestigious insurance companies when I was in college. It was part of their college agent program. I ranked in the top 10 in the country as a college agent. Well, why am I here and not there? I mean, you would think top 10 college agent that you transition into a great long-term career there because it's a great company with great products. You know why? Because of this. Nobody there had enough skin in the game to spend the time with me to continue to train and mentor and develop. Nobody. Like I had to fight for guys' times, and some of them wanted to be nice to this young kid, but they had families to feed. They were struggling enough because they were trying to figure this out on their own. Like they just didn't have a lot of time to give them. So I got out of the industry, right? Here, I've said this time and time again, this is true of me, but by the way, it's also true of you. When I'm spending time with Eduardo and Adela, nobody's compensated for that time. Not 1 minute of one day. They continue to be successful and grow, and they're off to a great start. Like, do you know how far down the road it is where they're making money independently, and I'm beginning to get enough overrides from them because they're having that much success where it even begins to have any kind of consideration for retaining me for my time. The risk is not him getting started with me. That's ridiculous. The risk is me spending time with him. Because if you think I'm gonna spend time with him so that he and I can go out and do field training sales, and now that he's licensed, I get half of those. I can just go out and get my own personal clients and get 100% of them. Do you really think that's a reasonable and fair return on the investment of my time? No. No. So, and that's true of all of us. We're investing our time in people. And by the way, I believe it's the best investment of our time that we can make is investing our time into others. I genuinely believe that. But there's no guarantees. I'm compensated on the back end of that work, not on the front end. And no matter how good of a job I do, I can't control whether or not he takes action. He's an active learner. He tries. He sticks with us. He doesn't quit. He doesn't leave and go somewhere else. Like, I can't control any of those things. So I'm making this investment with the risk of losing everything that I've invested into this relationship and no guarantee of a payoff. Why do I do it? Well, I do it because it works out enough times, and all the people that quit and it doesn't work out with, I completely forget them until I bump into them or see them on social media or something like that. And the ones that it does work out, well, you saw the Nikki Cannons and Mark Onsatz and Rachel O'Connells and the Fenelons and the Adams and like all these people, like enough of them do work out. And I don't want you guys to be too worried or upset for me. At the end of the day, I make a couple bucks, right? But the amount of value that I create and time that I invest, here's the thing, even if it didn't work out with him, I'm getting so much better at investing time, at leading people, at developing people, at building people, at challenging people, that my skills continue to go up. I want you to remember this. How many of you have seen like The Secret or one of those type of deals before, read something like that, The Law of Attraction? Anybody familiar with The Law of Attraction?
Yeah.
Write this in your notes. You attract who you are. You do not attract what you want. Most people have that twisted. Most people think, oh, you attract, the law of attraction says I attract whatever I want. Really? Then why isn't it working for you? Because I know this, I know for a lot of you, looking at your bank accounts and your businesses and your health, like, a lot of us ain't attracting 100% of what we want. True or not true?
True.
Including me. I'm not attracting everything that I want. You attract who you are.
We're back there. Are you
Yes.
positive or negative?
Yes.
Because you also can push people away.
For sure, for sure. It's like, I did this, one of the times I spoke at a convention on the big stage, and I took a magnet, literally, and if you look at a magnet, right, a magnet, by the way, a magnet has how many polarities? Two polarities. One is positive and the other is negative. Have you ever seen a magnet that only had one polarity?
No.
No matter how thin you slice a magnet, it's going to have two. No matter how thin you slice it, right? And so in a magnet, you've got all of these little atoms aimed the same direction, right? That's what creates that magnetism. All the atoms are aligned and directed in one direction, right? If I take a paper clip and I look at a paper clip, looks something like that, right? The atoms in a paper clip are going all different directions. It's not magnetic. They're going all different directions. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
If I put the paper clip right here, guess what happens to all the atoms in the paper clip? They all align the same direction as the magnet. This isn't like voodoo science, this is basic laws of physics, okay? They all align the same direction, which creates that connection, that magnetism. It creates this, right? Whoa. Right?
Right.
How many of you have ever done this before? Now you take a second paper clip where the atoms are going all these different directions, and if I line up a second paper clip, right here, what happens? It connects to this, doesn't it?
Right.
So, because all of the atoms are aligning, going the same direction, it acts as a conduit, as a magnet for the next paper clip. And the next paper clip does all this as well. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? So the law of attraction, we're going to attract, like the paper clip like this is going to attract what? Nothing. The paper clip when aligned like this is going to attract other paper clips or nails or staples or whatever the case might be. Okay? So we don't attract what we want, we attract who we are. It's a basic law of physics. Your body is made up with a gazillion atoms and molecules and our physical beings are molecular in nature. Okay? That's why alignment is so important. That's why I'm teaching these principles, because we've got to be aligned in our minds, which is thinking is the language of the mind. I want you to write that in your notes. Thinking is the language of the mind. Feelings are the language of the body. Feelings are the language of the body. When the language of the mind and the language of the body are congruent, synonymous, that's when we attract. Why does our business work when there's a hot environment? Because this energy that's in here when people come in before the meeting attracts people. People wind up wanting to be a part of this because they like the way they feel when they're aligned with this energy. Even when their words, their thinking, the language of the mind can't describe it, the language of the body understands it and wants more of it. Does that make sense at any level?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, side note, we started late. I'm going to try and finish this real quick anyway. Guideline qualification exchange. That was a long side note. As Sam gets promoted to associate, he's at a 35% contract. My override now goes to 30%. When he gets promoted, he's a little bit more independent, but he's still pretty dependent on me. He went from being an infant to a toddler in the business. No disrespect. He's a toddler in the amount of time and attention that he requires, but he's not an infant anymore. So it's a little bit less of an investment in time, it's a little bit less of an overhead. Then he gets promoted to a senior associate. A senior associate is basically like somebody in elementary school. Okay? They still require quite a bit of time and attention. My override goes down to 20%, but they're more independent. I don't need to wipe their butt anymore, right? They can bathe on their own. Like, they can do a lot of functions on their own, but they still, like, me and my wife going to Cabo, we're not, in elementary school, run around for 4 or 5 days on their own in the house, right? Even though they can shower and sort of make peanut butter and jelly and wipe their butts, we're still not leaving them unattended for 5 days, okay? That's just the way we roll. You get to MD, you're more independent, right? You're sort of like a teenager. You're probably more like middle school at this point. You still require help and work and investment of time, and not to say that my override goes down. I want you to understand, though, the business economics of it. Each time my override goes down, this person should be producing more per month in new associates in production than this person. So even though I'm overriding it less, I'm overriding a greater quantity per month and a lower amount. When you go from associate to senior associate, my override goes down, but I'm overriding a greater quantity of new associates in productions every single month. So my income shouldn't go down, it should remain the same or go up because there's more quantity even though at a lower override. Same here. When they get promoted to SMD, right, and now they're like a teenager, right? The override is gone in the base shop, but the company is going to pay me a 12 to 17% override to continue to train, to continue to mentor and develop the SMDs. The difference is we're on the same contract, so nothing's coming out of my pocket. Okay? So the qualification exchange says this: I'm willing to start here and work my way up based on merit, not based on well, we're family, or I really like Emily, but Eduardo not so much, so I'm going to promote her, or him I'm going to sort of superficially hold back. Or, you know what, well, James has been here a long time, I should promote him, and David's newer, I should hold him back. It's not based on tenure, it's not based on relationships, it's not based on fancy degrees, it's all based on merit, what you do here. I agree to get all of my promotions meritoriously. Now, by the way, when you're in the corporate environment, isn't that what you're dying for? Like if I'm the best at my job and an opening is available, I should get the next one. Does it always work out that way?
No.
No. One of the most frustrating things for employees is I can't control my upper mobility. And the boss, I'm under the boss's thumb, they don't like me, it's a personal vendetta, or it's this, or it's that. Like there's all these reasons they're not promoting me, and it's frustrating. And all we want is a chance to go, man, if I deserve it, if I've earned it, if I work hard, if I'm doing a good job, and I deserve it, give it to me. Here's the great rub. We actually do give it to you here. Now that you got it, what are you going to do with it? What are you going to complain about now? Whose fingers, who you pointing at now? Because now you got it. You can go up the ladder as fast as you want to. Has nothing to do with me or Dean or Steve or none of us. It's all about you. So now that you've got the opportunity to get promoted as fast as you want, just based on you earning it, what you going to do with it? See what I'm saying? Yes?
Yes.
That was a buzzkill. People are like, oh, wait. Wait, there's got to be somebody I can blame, but I'm entitled to it, right? So, in the traditional industry, when you come in and there's only this much spread between the big guy and you, he or she ain't giving up that spread to promote you to their position because the company doesn't have a compensation plan that allows you to get promoted to their position. We do. So the qualification exchanges, here's what I want you to understand. Some of you are on a training associate or associate contract, you're like, I'm not making enough. Contextually, if you're here to play the long game, if you're here to win, if you're here to make a lot of money, if you're here to build a great business and a career, contextually, the amount of time that you spend on this contract or this contract or this contract or this contract is peanuts compared to how much time you're going to spend on this contract. And then once you get here, how many SMDs you can promote? I've got like 35 of them, right? Where you can get 12 to 17 first generation, 8 to 12 second generation, 6 to 8 third generation, right? You're playing this for the long game, for the big money. So some of us are tripping over dollars to pick up dimes. We're over obsessed with our promotion and our contract. We're not obsessed with building a business. Right? So understanding the qualification exchange is powerful. By the way, because Ed Milet was my brother-in-law and I came up in his base, guess what I got? Nothing. I had earned every one of mine, right? Even though he tricked me into going full-time before I should have, even though his sister was pissed at him, I still had to earn every one of my damn promotions. So if you think I'm going to be giving away something to you, you better think again, right? Why? Because I lived it. I owned it. I experienced it. Nobody handed it out to me. I ain't handing it out to you. I ain't even related to you, for goodness sakes. I'm not even sure I like half of you. Come on now. Okay,
But you're better for it.
oh, yeah.
Statistically, you help somebody, you give it to them, they don't.
Oh, no.
It's like paying for somebody's AMA. It doesn't work.
Oh, no. Yes. Very good point. Builder's exchange. Builder's exchange is the one that people think of. I'm going to go through it real quick. I wish I had the printout from the, maybe we'll do this in the next couple of weeks to show the printout. Here's what it is. You're a senior associate or an MD, right? Now, by the way, my opinion, my base shop, that MD position is garbage to me. I'd rather see you be a strong senior associate and go straight to SMD, because I'm going to make more overriding an SMD than I am an MD, and an MD is a lot more work. Why would I want that in my business? Quite frankly, when you're the SMD, why would you want that in your business? An MD that you have to still invest all this time in, you're only getting a 10% spread. It's like, wait a minute, when you can pop them out and make 12 to 17%. You follow me?
Yeah.
Yes? No?
Yes.
You follow me, you don't agree with me, that's okay. So, you're going out, you got 3 different senior associate legs, and when I say legs, I don't have time to draw it all out, but you've got legs, right? I mean, you should have 25 to 30 plus agents in your base as a minimum, when you're going out to SMD, if they're like our company today, the products are so much better, the comp plan, the service, the leadership, the system, the number of people making money, big money, fat, like comparatively speaking, people are always like, man, I wish I would have started when you did. No, you don't. It was so much harder then. Your odds of succeeding then were so much more of a long term. It's so much easier today to succeed. But here's the challenge, in my opinion. If there's one thing that we've gone sideways on and like gone backwards on, it's these SMD promotions. And here's why. Today, with the current product mix in place and the current compensation plan, when you look at the company guidelines to get promoted, it's just way too easy for people to get the points and the licensed agents because somebody has a license, right? And technically qualify for this, but they don't have this. And then they take the promotion, and here's their reasoning. Well, when I take the promotion, here's what the exchange principle is called the Builder's Exchange that I'm teaching right now. When you go from Senior Associate or MD to SMD, your SMD chooses an exchange leg. I say, I want this leg. I helped you to build this leg. This leg is going to replace you in my base shop. So when you go out to SMD, you go out to SMD this way. You and these two legs and all these people on these two legs are going to go to SMD. So you're going to be missing one leg, but you're going to be on a higher contract. Why do we do that? In exchange for the right that when, come on up, Phil, good to see you. Yes, good job. In exchange for the right that when you begin promoting SMDs, you'll get an exchange leg from them. So I gave up 2 monstrous exchange legs to my brother-in-law, not little itty-bitty baby ones, 2 monstrous ones. Eric Davis was one of them. Eric Davis was my former boss at AT&T. He was a district manager. He was probably the best pure sales manager I'd ever seen in my life. He, like, month after month after month, year after year, at Xerox, was the top sales performer. Came to AT&T Wireless as a major account rep, top rep month after, nobody could beat him. Then he became a sales manager, nobody could beat him. Then he became the district manager, nobody could beat him, and he hired me to become a sales manager underneath him. The guy was just like, and he didn't just beat people, he beat people. Like, he beat them down, right? Just like, and he was just like, he's just one of those guys that made it look so easy and just crushed everybody. To, like, where people lost hope that like, they're fighting for number 2, right? So I recruited him. He was one of my exchange legs. One of my exchange legs. He, within 60 days of me giving up that exchange leg, he went out to SFD. Within 60 days. That's a mature leg I gave up. Strong leg I gave up. Second leg I gave up, I talked about probably 6 months ago, was a guy by the name of Scotty Benton. Remember I prospected his son in Islands, right? Scotty Benton, within 60 days, won his $50,000 watch, earned his $50,000 watch within 60 days of me giving him up, and won the Hawaii contest. Is that a good leg? Yeah. But most guys today don't give up one leg half as good as this, and I gave up 2 of them. Look what it cost me. What it cost me? Nothing. Nothing. Here's what it cost me. When Nikki got promoted, she gave up 2 big legs. When Lori got promoted, she gave up 2 big legs. When Jim got promoted, gave up 2 big legs. You know who one of Jim's legs was? Margie Hand. Margie Hand. It's a pretty strong leg, right? Not 1, but 2 strong legs, right? Because they understood the principle. I understood the principle, right? It's, by the way, do you think me giving up these 2 legs, with all the SMDs I've promoted over the years, how many legs do you think I've gotten back in return? Has that worked out profitable for me? Yes. Can you say hell yes? Yes. Good. Right? So that's the builder's exchange. We give and then we receive. We give and then we receive. Okay? Last one is the nobility exchange. What's the last one? Nobility exchange. What does the nobility exchange say? It's basically what it says. I'm gonna bust my hump if Eduardo is going on an associate run, or a senior associate run, or an MD, or a senior marketing director run, or an EMD run. I want to be his flag carrier. I'm gonna kill myself to try and get this dude promoted. Like, I'll sleep at the office, I'll work 19 hours a day, God bless you. Like, I'll do whatever I can to get him promoted. Why? Because of everything he's done for me, the time he's invested in me, the mentorship, to be there when like I was pissed or frustrated or had doubts or all that sort of stuff. He was there to help me with the wins, he was there to help me through the losses, he's been there like night and day for me. I'm gonna do everything I can to help this dude get promoted when he's on a run. But I want you to think about this from an exchange principle standpoint. When my people on my team see how hard and selfless and the sacrifices that I'm making to get Eduardo promoted, not myself, to get Eduardo promoted, how do you think they're going to respond in time? Monkey see, monkey do. Yeah, they're like, you see the way Christopher poured it on for Eduardo? Can you, like, he deserves to get promoted. Like, he did all that for him. Or like, they want to in turn pay it forward. It's like when you raise really great kids naturally want to take care of their parents, right? Yeah. They naturally want to, right? I want to take care of my parents in the business. Even knowing this, my parents ain't perfect. They've made mistakes, but I know they've had like my best interest in mind. Like, hey, let me say this. What if I had a parent like Rachel O'Connell did that I described earlier? That's just crazy, right? I still want to do it. Why? Because I'm still planting seeds in my business. Because they're like, holy sheesh, if he's doing that for her, like, and I don't even think she deserves it, he ain't never said a bad word about her, and he's selflessly killing himself for her, after the way she's treated him, oh, hell no. We got to do something for him. He deserves better than that. Like, I just taught this 2 months ago to somebody whose name you would all know is a pretty prominent player in the hierarchy, and they had good leadership, and they just felt like I'm about to blow by my leadership, and I just don't know that. And I taught them the principle of it's not about them, it's about you and your business. Because you're going to have some guy named Sparky come into your business that looks at you and goes, yeah, he's good, but he ain't going to keep up with me. I'm going to blow by him. I said, you want to plant the right seeds. This person had like a 180 shift, and they just did some things that I just noticed. I was like, holy, I can't believe they're doing that for their leadership, because of the talk that I just had with them 2 months ago, they were like looking at their leadership like half sideways. And now they're like, this is my guy. This, like, they're so lock in step, it's crazy. Let me give you the last exchange principle. I really wanted to go through matchup today, but we didn't get a chance to. Here's the last exchange principle. You want another one? The last one?
Yeah.
Meal.
The meal exchange.
Starbucks exchange.
The meal exchange. In the corporate environment, oh, I'm the big shot making all the money, so we go out to lunch, let me pick up the tab for all y'all, we go to Starbucks, let me get this all, I'm picking up the tab for everybody because I'm the big shot with all the money. The goal here is to become financially independent, not to be a big shot paying for everybody's stuff. So we do it just the opposite of the industry. I've got one dude that I pay for no matter what we're doing, no matter where we're at. His name's Dan Charlier. So rather than being responsible for all y'all, I'm responsible for one. Now, he's got more expensive taste than most of y'all, so it costs me a little bit, but there's only one of him. You only have one upline. Now, I was always taught, like, I would take care of my upline and my upline's upline. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I was around, like Nikki, if she's around me and Dan, Nikki's picking up me and she's picking up Dan. That's just the way she is. She won't let me touch Dan's, not when she's around. She won't. She won't. Right? Because it's this exchange principle. Out of respect, here's what I want to do for you. Not what I have to do, what I want to do for you. Right? And it starts with like between Warner and Jeanette, and like even Natalie Plant, I go to Harrywide, she's always like, can I get you one? She's not even, but there's a respect factor there, right? So she always wants to take care of me. Right? Take good care of your upline leadership, even when, not when they're a CEO, when they're your upline leader, like from day one. Just always take care of them. Whether it's a meal, it's tacos after you go out, right, and you've been in the field all night, or it's Denny's, or it's Starbucks, or whatever it is that your deal is, when you're breaking bread, just take care of them. Because they're taking care of you, and I promise you, we're not paying them to take care of you. And I promise you, they're investing more of their time at a much higher risk, and an unknown reward. I know you think you're gonna make it big, but they're investing the time, they actually believe that you are the way they're investing their time. So take care of them. And that's the nobility exchange. And by the way, like I just described, like Lori's doing it, Nikki's doing it, like I got all Warner, like I got all these people trying to take care of it. At some points it's confrontational. Right? Oh hell no you're not. Oh yeah, I mean like sometimes we're around Dan, it's like, okay, before the ability even gets there, like the last time I was out with Dan and Ward, right? Before the bill even came, I excused myself to go to the bathroom, did a backwards run around the back of the restaurant to grab the server. She's like, it's a private club, I'm sorry, we can't do that. I go, I'm giving you money right now, I know you can, figure it out, there's a way. Oh. So she's like, okay, da 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 da, and she takes care of it, and then I circle back, go, oh yeah, I went to the restroom. And then the bill doesn't show up. And then the other guys who wanted to treat him are bent out of shape. Well, too bad. You lost. I won. But it means that much to me to show him that respect. So that's the nobility exchange, or that's the meal exchange is what we call it. So all of these exchange principles are based on do unto others as you would want them to do unto you. Plant the kind of seeds in your business by paying it forward first, and those seeds will give you a harvest behind you of more and more people doing the same kind of thing for you. As we plant seeds, as we do the right thing, as we serve others first, we will get served. But it's counterculture. Most of us are looking for ours before we put anything in. I want to make sure I'm going to get my fair share. I want to make sure I'm entitled to this. I deserve this. So-and-so should do this for me. So-and-so, right? And this is the opposite. This is a counterplay to the way our culture works. This is about, I'm willing to give before I receive. And I'm going to give with a joyful heart before I receive. I'm not giving with a contemptuous, bitter, like I'm forced to, I don't want to, somebody's telling my hand behind my back kind of heart. I'm a joyful giver. And I'm going to outgive you. I'm going to outgive you. Not because I got more, I'm going to outgive you in my spirit, in my joy, in my service, in my time. I'm going to outgive you. Okay? So I hope that helps. Keep giving, and make sure that if you struggle with any of these, talk with your leadership. Have them help you to understand these, because these principles are important they're not important for me. I didn't get my coffee either way. I can afford my lunch whether you buy it or not, right? I don't need you to, right? They're important for you to begin changing the way that we think, fighting the way the culture wants us to think, and begin growing your business in a way that honors you, in a way that serves others, okay? Appreciate you guys. Let's go kill it. All right.